of making a film about reporters, stubborn reporters. My time with them really changed the way I think about the profession, and it made me realize that what everyone in this room does, no matter what your slice of the story and no matter what your platform, is critically important. Now more than ever, especially. But the ability to do this work is not something that we should ever take for granted or ever take lightly. Just to quickly establish my roots in reporting, when I was 17, I moved to Washington State from Brooklyn, New York, where I grew up. There's of course a story there, but basically I needed fresh air and a new environment. The experience was a little bit like a cross between Twin Peaks and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Actually, I wasn't rapping, I wasn't cool. I didn't have no hip hop. But at the end of my junior year in Washington State, I managed to stumble upon this thing called the Urban Journalism Workshop. And it was a project put on by the University of Washington and the Seattle Times. And basically it was a 2-week program for aspiring high school journalists where we learned how to interrogate public officials, elected officials, how to edit, how to take photographs and print photographs. And we actually put out a print newspaper called the Urban Journal, which I still have in my apartment back in New York. That little introduction into the world of journalism really got me started down this path. So this is also a kind of a plug for high school journalism programs. It's incredible what you can kickstart with just a little bit of nudging, and that goes on for college as well. We need more of those types of programs. So how did this particular story with regards to Reportero, the documentary that I made, how did that start? So about 3 years ago, I was driving along a stretch of highway in northern Mexico with a very uncooperative GPS. I was sure I was headed in the right direction until the blinking lights of the city I was aiming for vanished in my rear view. If you've never seen it, there's nothing more embarrassing or more ridiculous than a New Yorker trying to find his way in the Mexican desert. Maybe driving around Alaska is equally ridiculous for me. But at any rate, I was lost. So after the 5th or 6th utterance of recalculating from the GPS, I tossed it in the glove compartment, made a U-turn, and headed back to what I hoped was my destination. I was headed to a meeting with a Mexican reporter who I'd only talked to on the phone. And as I headed back the way I came, I remember passing a slaughterhouse. I was thinking to myself, I have absolutely no, and you can insert your favorite expletive here, I have absolutely no clue what I'm doing here. I'd set up a meeting with this reporter precisely because I didn't know what I was doing. Somewhat arrogantly, I decided that I was going to make a film about this very unique stretch of the California-Mexico border. It encompasses these twin cities of Mexicali and Calexico, kind of 2 cities that are tied together economically, politically, and also through the narcotics trade. So I began my research into the area starting in 2007. I thought at first I would focus on a shelter for deported kids, for deported teenagers. And finally in 2009, I raised some money. I was able to go down to the shelter. And I began interviewing teens from El Salvador, Honduras, the hard-hit states of Mexico. Basically teens who'd attempted to enter the US unsuccessfully. Oftentimes, they and their families had paid large sums to smugglers or coyotes only to see those investments evaporate when they were apprehended by Border Patrol. But I quickly realized that what I really needed was local knowledge. And more than local knowledge, I really needed someone to help me sift through the details of this place. And someone who could help me glimpse the kind of bigger picture of what was going on in the region. And at the time, between 2007 and 2009, the bigger picture in northern Mexico was pretty ugly. It has changed somewhat, although not enough, unfortunately. The rising wave of narco violence was claiming tens of thousands of lives, not only in the Mexican border states, but in other pockets throughout the country.